Oh yeah. What's up, guys? Today, gonna do some more programming, and actually really know. I didn't really do much yesterday besides what I did in the morning, so I didn't really make much progress. Although I did make a little bit of progress, so that's not too bad. Where am I at, bro? I hate when that happens. I gotta really work on this setup, but I've got a lot of other things going on. A lot of other things I'm working on. That's not gonna go there. We're gonna be moving around a lot today, by the way. Probably through these tabs. Or through windows, or however you want to call them. Desktops. Yeah, live chat. No. We won't make a new file. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and size it up. Open file gesture2.d. We left off yesterday. We were looking at all of this stuff. I actually did get it to where it just works, guys. I got it to where it just works. Okay, let me go ahead and explain. Let me explain a thing or two. Let me open Xterm and CD into my D-Lang. What? Failed bad args. I'm stupid. Coolio. Alright, all we gotta do is write out an algorithm that adds those things for the paths. The file name is, of course, the Java. And so we went to get that file. Which we already done that. We already figured out all that shit yesterday. Pretty much. For the most part, all we have to really do is just go ahead and start the process of making algorithms that write the lines to the terminal. Now you'll notice I'm using some car in the middle, and that's just because it uses less bytes. I ain't putting a string that uses fucking 1 byte per car inside of the fucking... Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, let's continue on. If I can avoid strings, I will. Only place I haven't is here. But that's fine. That's just a reference anyway. A reference. Const string path. I wonder if that helps it too, by the way. If declaring it as a constant will make it better or worse. So this here just says if it's this, write ln do thing argtype return. Otherwise, it goes through all of that and gets to here. So that gets me to the random number generation. How is random numbers gonna work? Well, in the last program, we're just gonna take what we did in gesture2.d, and we're gonna up the boundaries slightly. So what happens is, in the count program, in line count, we should probably declare I as equaling 1 at the start, so counts equals 1, no. Equals 1, so that way it has a starting point, since it will go from 0 to whatever number. That's going to be our bounds for the range that we're going to take. And then, so that gets your counts, pretty much. So that means that there's at least one line. But if counts... Depends on how counts is counted. Counts should be 0, but then you add +1 later. If count starts at 0, it counts all the lines. I mean, it should still work if we do it this way. Or we just don't. I say we don't. I think initializing it with 0 is fine. Alright, so here's how you get it. You do uniform, cast something to use short for some reason, but okay. Yeah, so we're gonna cast everything to U shorts inside of this. Though we could make it into a count, or like into a void, a method, if you will. Method? Why am I not making it a method already? Jester.do thing, right? Where's that at? That's this one? Okay. And so I'm confused right now. I think I'm a little lost. So we have that. We obviously have jester.do thing. Then where's void line count? Oh, this dot line count. Okay, makes sense. Cool. I'll just add one called this dot void random. Well, actually, here it's doing random to create the random number. Okay. Right? Anyway. So we'll do void rand gen. I think that's fine. It's a fine name for it. This dot rand gen will be awesome. We'll call it in place of this. That way I don't even have to scope guard it. I'll just copy all this in there. Although that makes everything else messy, because this could be done as a separate thing. Actually, I guess maybe not. I don't like having my methods nested. It's weird. Nested method calling? Weird. I don't know. It feels weird to me. I feel like it's something I've done 1,000 times, but it's definitely not the coolest, I think. That's still within that, though. Where's the other void? Yeah, let's go ahead and drop this on the outside. Release it to the outside world. That should link this to that. Alright, let's go ahead and do this dot rand gen right there. So that's gonna get our random number generator. We're gonna import standard random uniform, which gives you from a range. So you need to have a source range. And then that's all determined. All of the handling for this will be determined by if type equals t. So if type equals t, there's only one that equals t. And that's going to be a range type. That will change exactly how I'm processing out these numbers. Not really. At all. Not at all. In fact, the rand gen just creates a random number. Although, I believe in the original program we needed like 2 random numbers. One for length. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we'll add in counts, rand, and length, L-E-N-G. Instead, we'll do R&D and len. So if type equals t, it needs to do both. However, if it doesn't, do one. Now, to save myself lines, if type equals t, just do that. But if it doesn't equal t, then you can just continue on and do the other thing. So that way, I don't have to have a rewrite the same line again. I can just do auto. Was it auto? I think it was auto. It had to have been auto, right? Where's the uniform at? Actually, it might have been len equals. It is. RND equals the uniform. And how do you do that when it gets like a range, right? I really haven't messed with random a lot. Uniform from... Or uniform cast that? Oh, it's just a function, basically. So you have your low number and your high number. I think what I did wrong was I wasn't casting u short 0 in the original program. So we're gonna cast u short 0 instead of 1. Put in a comma, and then to counts. Same thing for length, except instead it's going to be 2 different numbers. And they're both going to have to be u shorts. Cast u short from 0 to RND, right? Well, is RND initialized first, though? No matter what, we know RND's got to get initialized. Let's do the eval after I initialize RND. And then all of this, shrink it down. Okay, so that's one way of doing it, I think. Because then it just automatically creates RND, and then if it checks and goes, oh, we need this, then do that too, because that's smart. I can just do len. Let's see. But it doesn't need to be counts, it needs to be another u short. I'm pretty sure you can just declare these differently. Maybe, I don't know, we tried that, we fucked around with that. Let's go ahead and give it 20, and from 0 to 20 lines. That's going to be the counter that it's going to use to count down. So it's going to create a number from 0 to 20. Let's say 5 to 20, and then it's going to be like, alright, well, if we have this many lines, let's go ahead and count it down. And then the next one we need to make is like another method that handles writing the lines. That's one of the things we did before. So it needs to identify if the type is T as well. So if the type is T and we have, well, technically you could also check if len exists or something like that, but anyway. Let's go ahead and add in that next one. Void, read lines. Alright, so void read lines exists. We'll do enter, and then we'll just put in this dot read lines. So first it makes the line count, the ram gen, and then reads all the lines. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the type first. So if typ equals t, and then else, because we know typ is probably not true in most cases, if typ equals f, but no, that's not a safe bet. I'd say this is fine. Let's go ahead and tab that out to get it to the correct indentations. And it also needs to reopen the file where you get the wallpaper. I got it from a friend. Auto. It's Linus Torvalds. He calls it the Creaton of Linus. It's Linus Torvalds in Tux the Penguin. I reckon it's potentially AI generated, but I don't know. Really, I'm kind of dumb, so I couldn't tell you. Anyway, auto, and then, what's the next one? F equals file. Is arg still the same? We don't change arg, do we? I don't think arg changes at all. I think the only thing that really changes is when we get to, which one was it? Line count? No, it doesn't even change there. So arg is pretty much good. By this point, arg is set in stone. We handled arg here with this constant string array. Wow, a string array. What a jumble of great data structures I've created. So we got file arg, and then put it in read-only mode, and then we'll add in our scope for the exit, since that's the cool way of doing it. Scope exit f.close. See if it does it here too. Cool. So now it has to go. Alright, for each string of I, do the counts. How did I do it in the original one though? That's like the real question. So for each of I to 0, from 0 to dot file size in both of them. Okay. We'll do that then. We'll literally just copy the same technique. So, for each, and then we'll do I semicolon 0 to file size, which will be counts. Counts shouldn't be uninitialized at this time. Literally, it's going to be the same code, but like slightly different, I think. So the first check, or this else one, should cover the example of how the other one is done. Because we do a for each I++. So for that to file size, what if we stop before we need to start the reading process? No. Well, if we stop at the low end of the range that we have to read, so we increment up a number. That's what we'll do. We'll increment a value. File f.readln. So that's gonna read a line. That's gonna increase the internal count for the file, which is a struct. Every time it reads a line, it increases its own count, and then we can... Maybe I should read standard.file. Standard.dio file. D-lane. Oh, I so slop. Take me to this one. It's approximately 4 a.m. Wowie. Nice. Chunks, to file, write line, lock type terminator. The Terminator. Sorry, do music. What am I looking at? File. Where's the source code for file? You got a struct for me to look at so I can determine what it is. Encapsulates a file pointer. Generally, D does not attempt to provide fin wrappers or other equivalent functions in the C library. But manipulating file values directly is unsafe and error prone in many ways. File type ensures safe manipulation. Wow. Let's see. There should be source code for this. So I can reference that. Because I want to see what it actually looks like so I can see if I can manipulate the values inside of it. Instead of just counting lines and wasting so much resources on that. Standard.standard.io file encapsulates a file pointer. It's a method. Oh, it's a class. That explains it quite a bit. Size. Which returns the current value of the position indicator of the file. That sounds like it's what I'm looking for. Oh, God. I see spaghettironis. Spaghetti syndrome. Nothing hurts me more than when I see C++. Especially when it's fucking written in English. Oh, God. I don't think I can stay on this page before I just start melting insides. Oh, God. That page was vaporizing me. Tell calls ftell for the managed file handle, which returns the current value of the position indicator of the file handle. Which file.readln was like byline inputs a current range. Flush calls C file buffers. Oh yeah, you have to flush those and do something else to I don't remember what it was, but it was something interesting. Readln. Read the file handle and return it as a specified type. Read line of the file handle. Buff terminator. So buffer and terminator. Windows handles wrap file unsafe function that wraps the existing file pointer. The resulting file never takes the initiative in closing the file. Note that the created file has no name. Coolio. Coolioso. Cooliomos. Unlock. Removes lock. Try lock. Temp file. Calling TMP file. Note that the created file has no name. Okay. Good to know. I actually should mess around with TMP file. That's pretty cool, honestly. Get FP. What fields does it have? Because I'm wondering. Oh, it's a struct? How does a struct have so many fucking dot this, dot that, dot readln? Oh wait, maybe it's the inverse calling feature. Okay, so in delaying, if you don't know, open link in new tab, documentation, feature overview. Never mind. I don't think it's in here. But they have some interesting stuff in Learn. And let's go down. No, never mind. These gems. Uniform function call syntax. This is the most interesting shit I've ever learned. So, the uniform function call syntax is a feature of DLang where you can basically write a thingamajib and then dot right line. Okay, so if you had hello world string, you could just write dot right ln afterwards. Or if you have a variable that contains a string, you can also do that as well. And this is how you would do a formatted line for writing world formatted as a string. So write FLN %s, which is a string formatting. So that's really cool stuff. I'm getting sidetracked, but basically allows you to call functions using a dot syntax, dot function syntax. If that's your kind of thing. I don't know. It's for like programmers from Python or something. Although it is potentially involved in other shit too. Alright, but regardless, I didn't find much information about what the hell we're doing with that. So we're just going to do f.readln. And every time we do f.readln, for each I of that, we'll just increment a external value. For example, uint or ubyte ii. And this will be incremented every time, so we'll just do plus plus ii. And then after we get done with that, right, so that gets us a count. We want to write the lines. Pretty much write the line, well actually, we're going to count up to counts, right? That's how it goes. It counts up to counts. So yeah, I did use short II. We went from 0 to file size, and we did if f.readln, or if I equals rand minus 5, which doesn't work in every case. Equals R&D minus 5. How big can rand be in the uniform generation? 20? So we don't even use LAN basically. For each member of match. For u short I until I equals length. But there's no saying what range is selected. So this was bad code to begin with. I just realized. This code we wrote was shitty. So, no, we're not doing that. That's not gonna... No, that worked, but it's jankish. We don't like jankish. So anyway, for each I of 0 to count, f.readln, when it equals the other thing, then just read the lines up to rand. So how does it know that it's at that point though? Is that it takes len, right? So once we hit that, if f.readln, or if, oh, and that's right, the count needs to be, so we don't need to do that, but the file's still open, so if count is, if I, hold on, I is equals, yeah, we're on the right track, equals len, I think. Or rand minus len. That's when you need to exit that portion of the loop. Or begin the next one. Or just start writing the lines. Minus len. And then if the next I, since it needs to be I plus 1, and I don't think it needs to have any parentheses around it, then we're going to break this loop. I don't want to write another for each loop, but it would be the easiest option. And then you enter another loop. Though this needs to be done with a return rather than a break, because return drops it back into the if t. So break would just stop execution from there. At least from what I gathered yesterday. So then, all we have to do is for each I... Technically, I could just start writing the lines out here, but if I want to do it cleanly and not have to have some kind of like double exception handling in that, which I don't really want to have multiple evaluation. Why am I saying exception handling? Evaluation in that. I'm just going to do it this way. This will be fine. From 0 to .len. Or rand. Technically, isn't rand reversed though? Actually, it is reading the right order. Hello. So it should be fine to just, because it's incrementing up every time, and then, boom. So that gets us to the line, and then we just gotta do... How did I do it in the original program? Did I do a buffer or what? String match? Yeah, no, this is terrible. Oh, wait, I might have done that. What did I do? Bro, the original is so spaghetti. I also use Arch, by the way. Yeah, Arch is amazing. I think Linus Torvalds would approve of Arch. I think he's an Arch enjoyer, too. Actually, no, he's a Fedora user. What am I saying? He's one of those Fedora weirdos. I tried Fedora, but it was too lame, so I couldn't get into it. So write-ln. I guess we'll just do write-ln, read-ln. I think that works. However, before we do that part, we have to do a comma. So write-ln, and then we have to put in what we want to write before we do the other thing, and then we'll do the function. f.readln. I'm going to put in the line count, so I want to put colon, and then I want to put count. Or actually, let's put in I, and I want to get it. I want to make it a global for that. Let's see, or kind of just within this counts rands. That's why I had the double I think was just so I could locally count it inside line count. Where is that? Oh, it's up here in read lines. So let's go ahead and create a u byte II. Actually, u short. There is a lot of things that can be bigger than 256, and especially documents can have a lot more lines than 256 lines. Text files, for example, can probably get close to 65,000 lines. If it's a big enough file. I mean, the D-Lang book is honestly there, so I mean, why not? This is exclusively going to be used inside there. So let's go ahead and make sure that's in the correct area and not just doing whatever it wants to do, because we don't need to initialize u short II unless we're doing this one specifically. And every time we do that, we're going to do ++ II, which gives us an account for that. Let's go ahead and just call this like line number, so it has a better, more readable name for all the people who like pretty programs. And then we'll do the same thing here. ++ line number, but that's also going to be part of the write-ln, so that's going to be... And I think we might even beat our original program's length, as long as I didn't screw something up. But that's fine, we'll figure that out once we get there. I like to burn that bridge once we get to it. So line number, which should hopefully be within reason. I don't know. Something along those... It should hopefully be within the... I forgot what I was going to say, so I'm just going to shut up. Alright, we're now on to the default. So, if it's T, that's how it's going to go, but if it's just an F or God knows what, like maybe spaghetti or somehow something happens and it's not that, or whatever it was, T. So, we'll just add its default, which is to for each I same shit but different method or different technique, I guess is a good way of explaining what I'm about to do. We're just gonna select a single line of the file from that. So it's gonna do f.readln. We could also initialize a string to equal it, but let's try to avoid initializations. If I equals rnv, because that should be the only one initialized for this case, then writeln file or f.readln should be it. Cool. I also use Arch, since way before LLMs made it easy to install, by the way. You mean Arch install script made it easy to install? Bro, LLMs just make shit confusing, honestly. Hi. What's up? You don't like the background? What? So you don't like Linus and Tux the Penguin? Me personally, I like the background, and it's my desktop, so it's I'm gonna choose what my background is. Oh shit! Oh wait, we're on this screen. You like this one better? How do you think of this one? I made this one myself. What do you think? It's pretty good, right? The background is epic. Thank you. I'm glad to see people appreciate this one. Or we can go to Jensen from an NVIDIA gate. He's coming to sell us GPUs. I think there was the original, which is above this one, but what was it? The original Arch Origins, yet another original AI generated Arch piece. I think these are AI, but I don't know, because my friend generated them. If they are. Todd Arch. This is a classic case of Todd Arch. Oops. Where am I at? Trying to find where I'm at in my labyrinth of fucking desktops. Oh, Arch-chan. Everybody loves Arch-chan. Greetings from Syria. I like it, yeah, real programmer. Haha, unhinged. So, see, it's not. Oh shit. Oh god. I'm being transported around my desktop because everything's all confusing right now. I put my computer on the one side, and now everything's backwards. So I'm getting transported to other dimensions constantly. Let's get back to let me move that. Where's the one thing? Stream chat. Okay, there we go. OMG, no way bro uses Arch. Bro, I also use Void, which is way worse, bro. I'd say Void is worse. Void you have to update every second instead of every day. I think this is pretty much all the code I need to do everything. So let's go ahead and watch it not compile. I love that. I'm gonna watch it not compile. So let's just see it work for the last time that it will work before I go ahead and start compiling it. It just compiled? Oh? Okay, so it's defaulting to a line count of Java. Anyway, if you want to see what the final product should do, in the JSR 296, the intended audience for this snapshot is experienced swing developers with a moderately high tolerance for pain. Jill Hova reply, Wait, there are swing developers with low tolerance for pain? Okay, I don't know this one, but it's... If Java had true garbage collection, most programs would delete themselves upon execution. By Robert Sewell. Java is like a variant of a game of Tetris in which none of the pieces fill the gaps created by other pieces, so all you can do is pile them up endlessly. Steve Yega. I don't know how to say that, sorry. 2007. Code's Worst Enemy. Bro, what is Code's Worst Enemy, and can I read that? Is that a book? Is that a book? Oh shit, yeah, Void is Wild, never tried it. Holy, what the fuck was that? It's, I just hate Java, guys. I'm not a Java dev, but... See, one of the first things I tried when I was really young was trying to learn Java, and... Back then, I didn't have the patience to learn to program like I do now. So I didn't know shit about programming. Anyway, it's... What is it doing? So it defaults to this one. So if type equals T. Oh, I got it backwards. That's my first mistake. If type equals F, do that. Let's see. In RandGen, we use T to create len for some fucking reason, which is backwards. So let's save that. Then, never tried it. Oh wait, that's about Void. I think Void's pretty cool though. Void's pretty cool. That should fix the first issue, although the fact that it's not writing the lines just tells me what I need to do is change up how it's doing f.readln, which is that it isn't right there, so fixed. I'm not sure how it compiled like that, but now it will work. Get rid of this one. I don't need to see that code. That code was slop. The slop of the galaxy. Send me to the bottom. See how there's an arrow? It's trying to send me to the bottom, but I gotta do it in here. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. Oh. Take me to the bottom, bro. Oh, nope. Todd Arch. See, my screens are backwards, so every time I go to this corner, I'm like, yeah, I'll go off to my other screen, and then the next thing you know, it's just fucking backwards right now. But it's something I'll fix later. I need to hear more about Java so I can get my hatred levels up. The more of an IT flavor the job descriptions had, the less dangerous was the company. The safest kind were the ones that wanted Oracle experience. You never had to worry about those. You were safe if they said they wanted C++ or Java developers. If they wanted Perl or Python programmers, that would have been a bit frightening. If I'd ever seen a job posting for Lisp hackers, I would have been really worried. Paul Graham. What does that mean? Like this isn't funny. That's just saying that Java's okay. We don't like Java. Java's terrible. But anyway, Jester can also do other stuff. If I say Jester DLang, he'll just read me lines from DLang book. So that way I don't have to read them myself. It's awesome. See, now instead of reading documentation, I can just get a randomly selected portion of it and go, damn, my day's good. Precision is specified as the float character, and then the actual precision are read from the next argument. And it goes from a bunch of lines. Also, I can do gesture.supporters, which is currently broken in this version of it. And it just always defaults to last line because I didn't know how to write the code. I had it written one way and it looked like real shit, and I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and redo all of it. So now we've gotten to the point where everything's redone. Anyway, let's go ahead and DMD the gesture.d2 or gesture2.d. There we go. So it failed on hello, which is perfect. Jester 1 Java. It's designed for, or 9, it's designed for, oh, this is just another section of the Java. Let's see what it does with supporters should give us... It gave me nothing. Is it? Oh, it is selecting random lines, though. It is giving us stuff. It's just that it doesn't have a correct range of what lines to give us, so that's okay. We can work with that. We just gotta tune it to the correct range. We'll try viewer, supporters, delang, and Java. So which ones failed and which ones didn't? Delang just didn't even give us lines. It did give us a line count of 46,000, which is very close to the 65,000 limit. Don't diss my boy Java like that. Alright, so we're gonna continue. So it reads these ones. So if that is the case, then do that. But the problem is we need to stop execution when it hits counts. So, or when it hits this number, because it's wasting, I don't know, it's not wasting anything. It's just continuing to go on, and that's stupid in my opinion. So let's go ahead and, it's wasteful because it keeps going. So let's put a return in there. Why is there this here? What? Where did that come from? You know where that came from? I think it came from this thing. Tab that out. Make it look nice. Hit enter. And then return. That should just throw us down into the lower level. If you throw or use break, that will just break. Stop execution. Perfect, that one's good. The one that isn't good, and the one that's a big question mark, is this one. I'm thinking that it counts up from here to there. It's not even doing f.readln in here. Let's do this. Let's declare a string that gets reinitialized every iteration of the loop. That will basically just be the line every time. And then all it has to do is print TMP. I think that's how that worked last time. So let's go ahead and recompile it. And then we can tune... Oh, that's right, the other one. The ranges are wrong. So when it generates a number from 0 to the other thing, it doesn't include every number of the range. Let's go ahead and get information about what's going on there with len and the other number. So that should be done after it does, let's do that, len, and get my other one, which was, is that AI background image? I think it is, but my friend gave it to me and I'm not sure. But anyway, it's Linus Torvalds and Tox Penguin. If you want to see my other backgrounds, let me know, because they're pretty unhinged, some might say. You know, maybe I should just sit on the arch one. I'm getting kind of, I don't know the words. Nervous about the Torvalds background. Bro, the original Torvalds background, we got demonetized, bro. It was too good. Not gonna lie, looks cool. Yeah. Let's go ahead and compile now. To ArchChan we go. Where did I compile it at? Oh, so I kind of want to see what's happening inside there. And now it's giving me numbers. So on which one was it? Supporters? 0 and 0 was the indexes it shows. Obviously, it's not going to give you an len for supporters. However, every modern Java program I see embeds its logic in an exaggerated choose-your-own-adventure model where the decisions of where to jump next occur in one-word increments. from Dion. Oh, what is this? It said 25. Oh, for line it shows line 25. Where's D-Lang at? D-Lang shows 2891, and its count was that. Oh, we counted it backwards too. We did a for loop in the original. Let's go ahead and try that. That's probably what we're doing wrong. I think part of it was that it had to count backwards, because if it doesn't, it might hit the end of file. So, instead of doing this for each loop here, let's just switch this to a for. I don't know why it's not writing the line, though. Potentially because of how I'm doing it. I'll look at the original to reference. But, let's just create a basic for. And let's do... Do we have a value of where we're at? So we're going to go to the end of the file, basically. We're going to go all the way to that side. And then we're just going to do II. We're going to use that for our value. Or actually, it's line number. And instead of counting it up every time, we're going to just get rid of that, clean it up a little bit, and make it a minus minus. We don't even need to initialize much, other than we can initialize string TMP now, which is an advantage. String TMP. Actually, it'll already initialize a string. Just gotta do TMP equals that. So there we go. So now all I gotta do is add minus minus line number. And instead of we need to put in our eval for it. Does not equal len, or no, does not equal RND minus len. Or no. We could just do... We could do an I and just make it equal len, but I don't want to initialize that, honestly. Let's just use line number and count it down. I just gotta figure out the logic, though. It's probably gonna be, like, not even this. It's gonna be... So while line number does not equal len minus rand, or one of those two, RND minus len. That might count down like 20,000 though. Actually, if len is like 20, it'd be fun. Why do you program if programming is not your job? How do you find an incentive to program if not doing it for a living? I just do it for fun. I don't know. I must have like some severe mental issues that make me program more. I don't know. Mental obsession with programming, I guess. My brain is just fried. Explains why I'm... Explains a lot. Let's go. Next one. And then we can do this. Ah, did I get it? Let's see, 4,000. So it chose like pretty close to the end, and it was like 15 lines. Why is it stopping there though? What's going on? Maybe the eval is wrong at some point beforehand, and then it just gets stuck in there. I like debugging. Oh, don't go that far. Yeah, fun is fun. So if I plus that equals... It returns. Oh! I know what it is. It's the return. That makes sense. Cool. So, we could probably shorten this up a bit and just replace... We don't even need TMP, do we? We don't even need that. But I think it's because it has a return here. So, it would return to the lower level, right? No. Well, if it equals that, do we break it or return it? That's the thing. Because on this one it returns. Let's see what we did in the original. Bro, so do you play games for an incentive then? Or do you play games for fun? That's my question for you. Or do you play games at all? Like, I kind of don't even play games anymore. I just program. Programming is my game. If I'm programming, I'm gaming. Right now. If I'm doing something tech, bro, I'm gaming. Let's see. This code's so bad to look at. God damn, what was I doing? What? What is this? Bruh. You're putting a break there, though. That makes sense. So this is your default, where it just break. So instead of return, do break and try that out. If not, we could try continue, which would be so fucking useless. If I plus that equals rand, just continue. Yes, continue executing, even if we're trying to, even if our eval conditions make the correct value. Play hard games because the incentive the reward gives me, even if I hate playing 90% of it. Oh, that's fair. I was just curious. Ah, look at that. It printed out 20,000 of these. Oops. Did I do file that close as well? Let's see. In the original, did we do file that close twice, or did we do it once? Because to read them backwards, you have to stop before you reach the length, right? And so, this to there. Honestly, I might switch this back to a for each loop. Because it would be simpler. And just go forward anyway. We're never really gonna hit that case where, like, there's the potential that it will hit the end of line condition, but it will just stop working at that point. It's a lot better that it does that. Let's rewrite this with a for each loop again, just because I can't make up my mind. I'm a programmer. What can I say? Alright, so what we're gonna do is increment up, and we're gonna go from 0 dot dot to len. Right? I think that should be correct. Because we don't need to do rand minus len or like anything like that. And then for each of those, instead of doing a TMP declaration, I'm going to remove that entirely. I'm going to go ahead and say we can do it in here, and then replace TMP with that. And then we hit Control S and do it. Hi, Mike, how's it going? It's going good. Rewriting gesture.d. We're going to rewrite it so it's better. It's already way better. In fact, I was even thinking about multi-threading it for some parallel quantum Java hate. Yeah. Hate maxing on Java, bro. Alright, let's go ahead and compile it. I'm surprised I haven't had any compile time errors today. That's good. I got it to work. I can't believe that. And then we also had an eval to detect if a line was empty and just not print it into the terminal. Because sometimes it will go, if the line is, it will just print a bunch of empty lines. Also, it's printing new line characters. So I had a couple ways of getting rid of those problems. I'll go ahead and demonstrate. Instead of taking the full line, you take the line -1. So technically, the string is, you'd take a string array, and you'd do like string t TMP. I'm curious now, what is Jester doing? Jester is printing each line with a new line character, so now we have to do we have to create a character array, basically, a string. And we'll basically do that from f.readln. And from here, we'll then take a slice of that string we've created, which will get reinitialized every time. So it's a little bit something I don't like, but it'll be fine. I can't say why I don't like it because I don't understand enough to comprehend that information at this time. But we'll do from there to $-1, which gives us a wonderful way of removing new line characters without using chomp, since we want to avoid importing random shit like that. It's a waste of lines and waste of bytes and shit. Good stuff. That's one problem solved. So that will make it so it's every line's the same. The other thing we can do is if a line is empty, don't print it at all. Or we print line empty instead. So I think that was handled by using eval for that. If tmp dot length, actually, yeah, let's do, somehow you could do a skip for it, like if tmp dot length is, we could just add 1 to I, or we could increase the length by 1, right? That will keep it so it will skip 1 line. Then we just need to figure out how to make it actually do that. If tmp equals or is less than or equal to like 2, actually tmp.length, that's a property of it, and then less than or equal to, I don't know, how many lines do you usually expect? I don't want it really printing any code either, because it likes to just spit out a bunch of code from where he writes code in the book. So we'll do like 8, and then that should just mean that if the string is less than 8 characters long, then go ahead and skip it. So to do that portion, you just increase len, and then continue. So that means it doesn't even do the right line. And instead of doing that, you hit else. So else do that. So if this isn't true, then do this. Now it should get rid of all the new line characters and handle the eval to prevent any stray blank lines from being printed out in the console or terminal. That solves everything, which means we should pretty much have a working program, other than the other thing that we needed to fix, which was, yeah, look at this. It's working perfectly, except for that 22 for loop. Identified 1 by 1. Oh, it's also not increasing count inside of there, so it's just still this. Still is printing out code. This is cool though. Oh god, more. I guess we'll just do if it's a length of 1. Because there's no real way of saying what's code and what's not. I mean, unless you start doing parsing and stuff. Or we just check if the line ends in a semicolon. Most of the lines will end in a semicolon or some kind of other. But I don't want to go through all that hassle. That's a lot of hassle for me to go through, and I'm going to say I'm lazy and not do that. Me personally, I don't really like doing that much eval. We'll go ahead and say if the line length is less than or equal to 1, then skip. And this one is smarter though, because it increases LEM and then it continues. The other one didn't do that. And by continues, it just goes back to for each. Starts the process over again. So the next step is to create the correct range. Obviously, when we do our rand gen, we're generating from 0 to counts. Maybe that's wrong, because clearly that should be different. Let me go check what happens when we actually do gesture to, or yeah, it should just be dot slash. Supporters. So this should be my supporters files, and let's see, last line. So it's always spitting out last line or blank lines. It never picks one. Cat. Yeah, let's do that. Cat. Dot slash data. Viewer. That's all it has, and then last line. Okay, so between 1 and 2, it always picks that one. Picks the first one. So it's missing lines every time it generates. That's bad. Shouldn't do that. The length is 2, so it has the potential to go to 2. I think what needs to happen is we need to increase the length count by 1. So maybe start length at 1 when we initialize length. So counts should just equal 1 and save. Everything else 0. A resounding 0. Dot slash gesture supporters. We'll go ahead and do that in a second. I'm surprised that compiled. Now, should see 3 is the length. Still nothing. Okay, cool. It select instead of so if 3 is the length, it just selects 2. Oh yeah, nice. Wait, maybe it just doesn't do it. Maybe it's got censorship built into it that I didn't program. Auto censorship. Nice. I like that. That's really the future. Auto censorship right there. I sure do love censorship. What if I set it to... Oh, it's actually U short, so you can't do negatives. So counts doesn't change anything really, but rand might. It's a problem with the uniform generation. So because... I guess I could just go edit the files for those. Aw, that's sad. I don't want to have to dig through my folders and shit. Sorry, this block of text right here is just a copy of cat v. Instead of solving our problem, I'm gonna just add a line in all the files. Cause I'm a hacker, you know what I mean? Just make the files extra long and make it hacky. And just work, guys. Oh. Open. Data. Delaying. Open. Okay. Oh yeah, just add a space at the beginning, and then add in the other one. Java exe path. No. Viewer. That other one is a hell of a book. Very long. It never chooses 0 though. It never selects 0 in the default. So, unless I subtract 1 from it, I guess. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Placeholder, semicolon. Let's try to do that one. Let's subtract 1 from the rand every time. So let's say rand R&D minus rand. That way we just subtract 1 from R&D before we even leave that. That means that everything's good. Should be working. Let's go down. Actually, there was one other problem I had. Whenever it reads line, it doesn't increment II in the section. So for each of these, it needs to be incrementing II at the end. So, or line count. Line number, tab, comma, colon, exclamation point, semicolon, comma, colon, exclamation point, comma, colon. Sorry, sometimes my brain does that. It is fry. Placeholder. Oh. Placeholder. So it's selecting 0. So that means rand is 0. I'm pretty sure the middle one is rand, and the last one is len. Placeholder, placeholder, placeholder. Oh. Integer limit. Okay. Maybe it's decided to work now? Placeholder, 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 integer limit. Oh my god, bro. Which one is it? Does it need to be this? Or do I just need to spam it more times? Or does it have that auto censorship? Or, you know what it is? It's that it reads the lines. And let's see. Here it does f.readln. It always reads the first line before it gets into here. Let's put an else and put this after. Oh, my bad. Cut it. Put it after that. That's what I'm doing wrong. That's why it's never printing the first one. It's always printing placeholder. That's it. That's everything I need to do to make it work. And then boom. Placeholder. Good. So that works amazingly. And everything just works. Todd Bethesda. It just works. Nice. There's a few other things I want to change. For example, you may notice that there is a couple of these lines in here that just write ln for what's going on inside the program. Obviously, this one's fine. That's just exception without doing exception or whatever. But you can technically put version, and then we'll do that so we can get our compile time version. I think one of the valid ones is debug. It's predefined. So if you were to do -debug, let's see. I actually need to go read that again. Let's see. What? What? Delaying version. Here we go. Asserts our compile time, by the way. Enables, okay. Version specifications. Compile this code block for the demo version. They do not conflict with debug identifiers or other symbols in the module. Version identifiers defined in one module have no influence over imported modules. Oh, okay. So if you import them, you need to have them imported as debug. And that's actually something I think is required, because if you were to import a bunch of them and they had version and then you just specified that version on accident. Also, DMD allows you to do the dash versions, which, although LDC is different, and so is GDC. Although they should both be able to do this. Obviously, if I'm using LDC, I'm just compiling it for the release build. So I'm probably not even going to need to use dash version. Unless I have, like, specific versions for, like, one of the things. So with a version, you can technically do an else statement. It's like, be like, yeah. And then one of those. What is this one? Oh. You technically do it like an if-else statement. TVOS. Version identifier. TVOS. Bro, these options are crazy. Whoa, flashbangs. Prepare for more flashbang. Prepare for Java hate. Hold on. GNU heard? Oh, we should play with that this weekend. Scripting. PlayStation. PlayStation. Wow, the original PlayStation. Anyhow, smooth scrolling, right? Must be Linux. No, you're wrong. It's just Windows, but I dressed it up with a Linus Torvalds background. Is this technically, what is it called? Where you, like, have a AI make an imposter of somebody? AI imposter sus Among Us? Among Us, Bobby! Let's see... Imposter sus Among Us. Let's see. So I should have a couple more of these testing lines. Like, probably... I don't see any down there. Oh, I think I got rid of that one. I think this is the only other one, unless there's a right line here. Yeah. Which, that's cool and all. I think that we'll leave this one. Gesture, and then ID, and then arg. Yeah, that's fine. Save it. The first time I saw somebody program in Kate. Bro, Kate ain't that bad, bro. Kate's really nice. I like Kate. Kate is amazing. But, I don't know. Yeah, most of the time I see people use, like, Vim, bro, and I'm like... Or VS Code. If somebody uses VS Code, you can tell that they are not... not cool. You can tell they're not cool because they're using VS Code. And that usually means they either do C# or C++. And both of which are uncool by all definitions of the word uncool. It's reverse cool. Identifier expected site version. Oh, right. So it just wants a different name for the version. Beautifuls. I like that. Amogus. The version is Amogus. True, your cool points are up right now with Kate. Thank you. Placeholder. Okay, so now I D&D it with the version. And we'll call it... What was the version again? Amogus. If you put the keyword Amogus... Oh? Hold on. You know what it is? There we go. Now, I run that, it will give me that. So that's cool. You can use version to give you more information. Anyway, if you use Amogus, that's the secret keywords to get all of the secrets of how Amogus works. Anyway, let me go read what's going on in the chat right now, because I'm on Archchin. He avoided text editor with AI features, so he used Kit. Well, at one point I was using Nano. But I've become a Vim... Whenever I have to do terminal stuff, I've become a Vim enjoyer. Vim maxer. I think I'm just going to leave it as capital Amogus. So let's go ahead and do, like, some tests. But first, let me grab the chat so I can pull it down into the other section. Oh, you all thought it was still Linus background. We need a Linus Tech Tips background now, too. We need like another version of the Arch background, but instead of Linus Torvalds, we replace it with Linus Tech Tips. Or something like that. We need something like that going on. I don't know. Viewers submitted backgrounds are amazing. It's the best idea ever. Anyway, let's go ahead and do /Jester2. Give me some D-Lang. Oh, what? Oh, right. Noise. I think it shows 5 lines. It's still doing that. God damn it. What? How the... Okay, let me go back so I can redo all my hard work for a second. I just need to go type in one line of ++. Oh, I didn't even put the ++ line count. That's so important to me. Oops. Should be good now. We should be ready to compile for the last time. It's not an L value. Where'd that come from? Line count? Where did I get line count from? Okay, now this is my brain shutting off at 3 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. in the morning, actually. It should just be numbers. Line number. What am I doing? We don't have a line count. No wonder it said that. I mean, that's obviously what I did wrong. So, going down. We have it working. D-Lang, D-Lang, D-Lang. Jester 0 has given us this section of the D-Lang Bible. Jester 1 has given us this section of the D-Lang Bible. Constructing an object, not the const operator. Not the immutable constructor, not the shared constructor. To take advantage of qualified constructors, one must use the type constructor syntax. Here's D-Lang 2. Here's Jester 2 D-Lang. Import standard.string. Write FLN == memory layout of. char s for the format. String of %s dot align of %s. Chester 3 delaying. Write ln. Address of original variables. And, point to original variable. Interesting. Although they are defined as separate parameters, ref parameter and out parameter are aliases of the original variable. Okay, let's do Jester for Java, Java, and Java. No, I broke it. Failed bad argument. I am stupid. This is perfect. I get 3 times the Java hate now. We're doing good. Let's go ahead and try it, but try to improve its efficiency by including multi-threading. Since I know that we can probably do that. The problems we were having before was we were trying to call the class into the thingamajib. The problem is that we need to create a new thread and then send Jester to it, but you can't do that really with this. So we might need to do spawn. That's the real question though. Can I do task? Right? Like that's the easy way. Multi-thread my methods. I don't know. I was thinking about multi-threading it, but like, really does it need to be? Like that's the only portion I'd think. It kind of is slow though, because if you give it Java, 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 it's doing 3 Javas, which is 3 times the eval and 3 times the original stuff. Let's try this out again. Jester Java, Java, Java. Time that. So we're going to do time. We're going to try time trials. Takes 0.1 seconds. Alright. Well, what else can I improve today? Because we're kind of running out of stuff to do on Jester. We've actually got to our final Jester right here. The ultimate Jester of all time. The 3-ring circus I have in my terminal that can make fun of Java for me. So I don't have to do as much speaking. The next level is to go ahead and open up cat v again so we can go get the latest and greatest of Java. Or let's go for C++ today. I'm in a mood to destroy some C++ enjoyers. So we're just gonna go to cat v and find where they have all the C++ hate. CSH. Oh, that was C shell. Oh god. Java is really good at being really good at, or Java is really good. This is good. I don't really want to just... Some of these people wrote for the Java one too. Made fun of Java, but that's fair. Alternatives, C and Go, as well as throwing yourself into an egg. Some articles explaining why C is better than C++. Performance of STL vectors versus plain C arrays. A sad story about get temporary buffer. When the C++ STL library was designed by the first author of this book, he realized that it would be helpful to have a function get temporary buffer that takes the size n and turns it into the largest available temporary buffer up to the n that fits into physical memory as a placeholder. Since the correct version needs to have knowledge that only the operating system has. He has wrote He wrote a simplistic and impractical implementation which repeatedly calls mallocate, asking for initially huge and gradually smaller chunks of memory until it returns a valid pointer. He put in prominent comments in the code saying something like, "This bogus implementation, replace it." To his surprise, he discovered that years later that all the major vendors that provide STL documentations are still using this terrible implementation, but they removed his comments. God damn. Bruh, C++ frequently asks questions today. This is C++ FQA Lite. It's a general purpose. C++ is a general purpose programming language, not necessarily suitable for your special purposes. Stands for frequently questioned answers. Oh god. FQA, frequently questioned answers. Purpose, defective C++. Bro, I'm saving this one. The frequently questioned answers. Check threads. Erase detector for C and C++. What is this? The hate page? Where does this take us to? The C++? Ah, here we go. This page is a collection of the best C++ implicit type conversions. I'm not gonna lie. This looks a lot like D-Lang, but like kind of weird. Like, why you get these here? Why is your... What? Wait. Int main? Whoa. Is int main a thing in C++? I'm used to calling void main, not int main. What kind of entry point is an int? Well, I guess it is in C, though. I think that is actually correct. I don't know anything about C++. I'm gonna be honest. I just say, cool language. Looks like D-Lang. But I think it's probably just really shitty. The only things I know is long. I'm gonna be honest with you. And that's one of the things I always point to as being an example of why things suck, is because, well, if your data types aren't the same on every platform, then what's the point of having a data type, right? Then you have to rewrite the whole program for every fucking platform. It's already bad with D, but like, if you go to C or C++, then you have those, int main void is a primary level thing right now. These guys teach them this in class 2. Yeah, the C++ cultists can go suck it. I will never do C++ on this channel because it sucks so bad. That's my personal opinion of C++. Anyway, back to the FQA. Criticisms by other people. I'm probably not going to understand any of that, but let's actually... Oh, wait, there's a section here. Linking to FQA. If you liked the FQA and wish to spread the word, here are some images for the link face. If you link FQA or just found interested, I'd be happy if you dropped me a line. FQA is a very good website. We like Yosef K. Good job. We're like that. FQA, send me your errors. Big picture issues. Is C++ a practical language? Fact. Sure. Not perfect. But mature and well supported, which is good for business. Unoptimized, right? Bro, C++ is just sloppy development all the way through. That's all I think of it. Like, especially if that thing the book says over here, which I don't believe this is entirely true. I believe this might just be satirical. But if this is true, then think about how many other cases of people doing dumb shit inside the language code is. And also, it's written with C originally. Because he says malloc. Or maybe it's written with C++, but still. If I could do any version of C++, I would learn original C++ before they slapped all of the garbage in there and made it lame-o mode. But even then, it doesn't have great features. So, just saying. Is C++ a perfect language? No, it shouldn't be. C++ is not mature in the sense that the different compilers interpret it differently, and C++ modules built by different vendors will not work with each other. C++ is not well supported in a sense that was the big deal of OO, object-oriented programming. It is very useful for a lot of things. It's so useful, you are likely to want to support for it into your language. Of course, nobody knows how to build complex systems in general. In the general case, or in your special case, OOP can help other object-oriented or things can help. English is pain. Answering this question is not helpful because business considerations dominate technical considerations. What? What did I just read? Business considerations dominate technical considerations. I think that's like saying that, I don't know, that's just lame. I don't know. Who cares, bro? Just write a good language, and that's it. But I feel like these answers are way too short. I mean, it's okay for a fact to be kind of short, but if it's not, like, to the point, like, I feel like these are not to the point. They're, like, vague. Super vague fact. Like this one. That's very vague. What do you mean? Object-oriented programming is the best way to develop complex systems. It was invented because customers kept demanding increasingly complex systems. The only things you really get with object-oriented programming is the inheritance stuff. I don't know. And maybe constructors and deconstructors. These are like one-line answers, probably too big. Sure, not perfect, but mature and well-supported. I don't need to disassemble those ones. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted, but... Who uses C++? Lots and lots of people and organizations, which is excellent for business. A business language. Business. Let's see where else they say business. I don't think it's wrong to develop a language for business, but if you're trying to make a good language, it shouldn't be your primary focus. I don't know. Your primary focus should be making a good language. Visual Basic, C, Fortran, Pascal, Smalltalk, lame. Is that the lame language? Answering this question is not very helpful because business considerations. Let's see. Answering this question is not very helpful because the real question is what language is best for your specific purposes. Exactly. The purposes are defined by business considerations and by technical considerations. In particular, your purposes very interesting. What are some C++ from a business perspective? Business. Yes. I don't really like all of that. I'm from... Can you give me a simple reason why virtual functions, dynamic linking make a big difference? Is C++ backward compatible with ANSI/ISOC? Almost. Almost compatible is almost meaningless. He's not wrong. That's like when I say I don't know what I'm talking about, which is true. Because a lot of times I don't know what I'm talking about. But sometimes I have a very vague idea. What does the fact mean by such is evil? This means that a feature should be avoided whenever possible. This means that feature satisfies the following conditions. It is inherited from C. Wait, let's see if it says that anywhere. Oh? let's see. I want to see if any of these facts include the such and such is evil. If you are a non-technical person, manager / HR, ask a technical person to help the interview questions. Probably don't mention anything unique to C++. Such and such is evil. Wow. This is amazing. Will I sometimes use any so-called evil constructs? Of course, evil means usually undesirable. Bruh, so hypocritism is okay? I don't know. Is this just like an actual C++ fact though? Were these fact from the C++ and is FQA just... Ah. Maybe there is a C++ fact. But okay. Personally, I don't want to look at C++ anymore. It's kind of fucking lame. So let's go ahead and copy and paste all this into a text file and add it in as a path. A new feature of Jester will be making fun of C++, since I really hate that too. New, and then just paste, and then should be good. It's got 40 lines. That's about as much as the Java one had. Now we're going to go ahead and save as in my data folder and call it C++. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and add it in as a path. First one, C. Let's just call it plus. Because I hate that writing, bro. C++, comma, and it needs to be formatted exactly like that for the path, data/cpp. And then the last one, let's go ahead and put in T. So now Jester will be able to give me C++ jokes. So the way this works is it goes through all of these and it's like, which ones, of any of the ones from the list, which one is it? And then it finds that one and then makes another thing happen. See, this is the for each loop. So basically it references constant string array of arrays. Very good data structure, right? And then it goes through them and finds if that location equals arg, and then figures out what to do with it from there to basically say, if it finds the arg, then it does all of this stuff here. But if it doesn't find that arg, and it reaches the end, then it does none of the stuff, and it just prints out a line and it says, do thing arg type, which has been assigned to the last one, the default value. So if that happens, that's what it's going to do. The next thing to know is that in here, arg equals this exe path, so it's the path, and this removes the actual name of the exe, jester2.d, which then leaves a slash on the end of our path right here. And that will be dynamic. So wherever you put this on your machine, it doesn't matter, as long as you have a data folder that it's able to point towards, that's in the same directory. So as long as there's a data folder that contains these, boom. That's how that works. Then it's gonna, after it finishes all of this stuff, it then executes the line count, the rangen, and the read lines. So it does those three in order. So it gets a line count, so it can make a random number from the beginning to end of those here. Then it uses that random line count to choose a line or range of lines depending on the value indicated in these. Obviously, if it's fail, it's just going to default if it somehow manages to make it to there, which it won't, because by that point it's already broken and stops code execution from that point. Where's that at? Where does it do that at exactly? See, it hits return and it stops execution. It's like, no, we can't keep going, so stop that. And then boom. So then once we get read lines, it just reads all the lines. Pretty simple stuff. The other things to know is that when you initialize the actual args and stuff, or whenever you put args on it in the command line or in the terminal, basically all that happens is it creates a bunch of gestures, creates a 3-ring circus right here, and that's done by using for each. So for each I of args, which is from string args, which equals runtime.args, which excludes the path by selecting the first to length. Path would be, I'm pretty sure it's the execution path, something like that. I don't remember exactly what runtime.args of 0 was, but it's always a path, either to the executable or something else. Now, that would mean I could just use it for finding the exe path, but I don't remember what it was, and I didn't really care to try to figure it out, so I'm just like, we'll just fucking do it the way we were doing it before. Why not? I'm sure it would work better if I just used that 0 index as my exe path, but we create a new gesture for every arg, and for each arg it's going to go ahead and execute that code where it finds out what to do, and then appends that to a gesture array, pretty much. That's what this is, an append, but you can't do append with classes unless the class somehow has an append in there. So if we inherited gesture from something that had an op-unary overload, or added an op-unary overload to append to it, maybe. We don't have that though. So kind of sad. Now if we go to for each gesture of gestures, gesture.doThing, that just executes the entirety of the gesture.do thing. So after initialization, it then goes into doing the stuff. So initializes all of them using the default constructor. Where is that at? Here, where it gets this .arg, argin, which is from string argin. As you can see, I pass that here, right? That's going to just pass arg from the for each loop into that and construct all of my construct my whole 3-ring circus, bro. So that's amazing. That should be pretty much it. Other than what's the other one? This .id equals gesture count literally just takes the gesture count static ubyte. The way that works is every time it creates a new one, it increments that. So that means your total count of gestures is just existing. You have a total count of them, so that way you can keep track of all your clowns, every single one that runs around on your computer. Anyway, let's go do that real quick. Add my C++ header code. Header script is what I'm going to call it. And then we'll put it into my path. Yes. Gesture 1. Java is a DBL to transform big XML documents into long exception stack traces. C++. Java is in many ways C++ minus. Why is it giving me C++ is Java? What? Yeah, that's good. C++ is an insult to the human brain. Wow, I'm really hating today. Arguing that Java is better than C++ is arguing that... I'm sorry, but does cat V say these things on there? I'll go to the C++ one, but I think it's printing out C++ in the wrong lines. control Amogus. Oh, where's my flashbang? Oh, got him. Let's see. Java is in many ways C++ minus. Okay. Control F, Control V. Ah. Wow, that's amazing. Cool. So we got our C++ hate. Let's go ahead and add let's rename it to hate. Hate C++. Nah, let's just call it C++. Make it simple. Keep it simple, stupid, you know what I mean? Because I'm a fucking idiot. I am stupid. It's true at all times. Constant, I am stupid. Enum, me am stupid, true, or some shit. I don't fucking know. My brain isn't in the mood to come up with such things today. I guess if you wanted to get more advanced with classes, you would just write more classes. Oh, somebody did say they wanted me to add a color thing to this, but I guess I really would only add, the only colors I really would add would be like, if it's C++, make it purple or something. I don't know. But that's pretty good. That's a certified good code. But let's add it to my path, right? Oh, wrong one. To do that, I'm gonna go down to the arcchan, bro. Arcchan. We're just gonna vim do that one. Yeah, bash rc, bro. Alright, so we got my vim going. Got dealing Jester, right? I don't want to type Jester2 all the time. Plus, Jester2 is deprecated. Insert 2, escape, shift, ZZ. Go ahead and exit that at this time. Xterm, Jester. I said Jester. RUK Serioso. It was working yesterday. God. Oh wait, maybe insert delete. Oh, actually no. Escape, shift, ZZ. Should be that. It should just be the path. Try Jester2. Oh wow, it doesn't even print anything if you don't put anything in. That's so good. Nice. My entertainment from Jester2, bro. I think the next step is to add it so it just automatically scans that entire directory and just puts all of those paths in. That would probably be better. But then I have to... We'll do that tomorrow. For now, I'm just gonna do this for a little bit and get my daily dose of C++ and Java out of the way. Well, that's cool. It's already aliased because that directory's already in the path because the directory's already in the path. So I don't have to do anything. Awesome. That's good. So anytime I log into the terminal, please do Jester Java. Oh, it's about to rain, bro. I hear it raining outside. Oh, it's a thunderstorm, bro. So how would I do it? I would do like... I can't... Jester... Java... C++. Pretty sure that's all I need to do. Oh, and instead of doing that, do Jester Java to Jester 2. Oh, I'm dumb. Bro, I'm getting nanoed again. Nanonium. Okay, now let me open up my terminal. Bruh. It gives me my daily dose of hate for fucking C++. Next step is fast fetch every time. Exterm. Every... Bruh, automatically just grabs that for me. I'm sending this to my friend immediately. Anyway, that's really good. As far as whenever this releases, I don't know. I don't really release this stuff when I make it. I just make it. But, let's see. This is good. This is truly the best coding of all time. So tomorrow we're probably gonna... What is tomorrow? Tomorrow's not... Oh, tomorrow's Friday. I don't know what we're gonna do tomorrow yet. I actually don't have that plan, but, I'll figure that out. I think... Let's fix this, because I don't like having... I want to create this. I think we'll create a method that gets called... that will find those. It will use dir entries to get us the dir entries of data. And then it puts those into these. But the problem is... I mean, I guess you could have a config that you just initialize and then that becomes the thing. Like a JSON file. Or you can just... I think I need to read about mixins. Because that's what I really need. Mixin. DLAN. Oh, but that reminds me. I hate mixin. Oh, not to be confused with template mixins. Enable string constants to be compiled as regular D code inserted into the program. That's compile time, though. We need something at runtime that just grabs out a bunch of lines from the thing and puts it into a... into an array. I guess we could file roll write the strings out and then raw read them back. Man, I honestly don't know. I mean, that's stuff I don't know about. Man, I got a lot of time this morning, bro. What is safety? By Bartos, member of the Z design team. I've seen some very good programmers move away from C++ in favor of languages like Java or C#. Being a hardcore C++ programmer myself, I wondered why anybody would want to switch to a less powerful and less efficient language. Mind you, I could understand why a newcomer would opt for a simpler, flatter learning curve language, but once somebody invested... Bro, it's because it hurts my brain every time I look at C++ code. That's why I would switch from C++ to C#. Just gonna be honest. So obviously you can't do a mixin. You need to load these into the array somehow. And one way we could do that is create our own, like, let's say we read a line from the file, right? And it contains this. But then we have to then parse all of that. So instead, it's a 1, 2, 3 process, right? So the file would be like Java, data Java, T. And then you just continue on and do it for each line of this. So the file would be like a lot of new line characters, but it could be a text file. Then you just have to subtract 1 from it. So... what we could do for that, we need to then create our path array at the top. So it can no longer be a const either. Which this is something I don't really enjoy doing, but string path is now this. And the way we initialize that is going to be done using a method which will just read lines and go line by line. Since that's the easiest way I can do it. That's like the easiest way without any parsing or anything. It's not going to look pretty. It's not going to be clean. But it's going to work well. That's the simplest way of doing it. This dot path gen. So that gens the paths. However, the problem is that needs to happen before all of this stuff. Well, that's no problem at all. It just looks ugly. I want to have them all together because it looks pretty. I've just been trained to think that way. Anyway, so we're going to write void pathgen now. Takes no external of those, and it's going to just open a file. Now, it doesn't know where this file's at. So, auto f equals file, and it should be operating in the local directory. But if you're not in the local directory, that's where things get weird. So you need to create an either using dot or this exe path. Do we have one of those already? Where do we create this exe path at? Right here. Okay. So we'll do that first. So we'll get string path equals this exe. Yo, you sound like bro code? Who's bro code? I'm sorry, I have not heard of this guy yet. This exe path, and then should be as simple as creating that and then appending. Actually, we do the same things we do there. We do path.length -7 to get rid of the exe from the exe path. So that gives us that. Then path appends. No, actually, before we even get there. Oh god. Oh, that's. I did not mean to do that. Oh, that was terrible of me. I am very dumb. I entered insert mode. Insert PewDiePie's. Oh, that guy, he's built a bigger data center than I have. That's my goal, to build the biggest data center of all time. We'll have 5 billion gestures stored inside. It will be the ultimate 5-ring circus, I would say. Which this program's called Gesture 2, and it makes fun of C++ and Java now. So now it's twice as good. Since now I have to do even less work, because all I need is this thing to make fun of those for me. Add R for the read-only, and path also needs to be equal to, or append string for the path, which is /data/ paths. All right, so we're gonna make a new one, and it's gonna contain all of that stuff in a second. But we're gonna call that paths, and we're just gonna go line by line. So first we have the name. So we're gonna copy, and I'm guessing we could just do a parser, but oh god, I really could do a parser. I'm not gonna lie. I could actually go and do a parser and just do it line by line. Let's see. They're all separated by commas. They don't need to have any of these. Technically, every time there's a space in the line, so that's what our data looks like inside of the array. But if you really wanted to, you could just do Java data / Java, no comma separation, so it kind of looks ugly, but this would be working. So the next one, and then I'll create a parser, even though I don't really want to. We're already this far. We're already sunk into the doot. But you wouldn't have any of the quotation marks, you wouldn't have any of the commas anyway. So this creates all of your paths for if you want to add your own files to it. For example, let's say you wanted to have it quote, I don't know, just some fucking random lines of whatever. This now makes it a highly customizable tool. This is a new enhancement. I need to really find a place where I can release my code that isn't GitHub, since GitHub is big lame and owned by Microsoft, so if anybody has recommendations, I'll have to look into that this weekend. C++. And then I'll also release all of the great files this thing has. Cut that. Oh, yeah, cut that one. Failed bad. I'm stupid. No, that one needs to be hard-coded. This is unfortunate, because I can no longer use all of that. However, because this will need to be parsed, right? So either I just do underscores to make it one big word, Anyway, our main goal is to create the array. So we're just going to replace every one of them with an underscore, since I don't want to have to fucking try parsing blocks of it, because that gets even more complicated. See, parsing is something I hate in life. It should just not exist. Save it to here. We're going to save it as config. And the config is going to look stupid, right? It's fine. Don't worry, guys. It's the config. It's going to hurt. It's supposed to hurt. If you use my config, your brain cells are going to erode rapidly because of how much brain power it's going to consume to comprehend what I've written. That's amazing. It's good stuff. That's how it should be. Keep it simple, stupid. It's my motto. But it's also the Arch motto. f.close. So that way it automatically closes. I don't think you even need to declare that, honestly. But it's good to do. Really, I've never even used any scope type before, or like this, what is it? Just the scope thingamajib? I've never really used that much. Even though I just used it a lot here, but like I've never really had a need besides files. It's usually a scope if you like have like a bunch of eval and you're like, oh, leave the scope before closing the file. But no, you can just have it like this and then be like, oh, I don't have to declare a file close every time I close the scope out. For example, on this one, right here. Let's see, so what's going to happen is it's going to open the file. It's going to be like, all right, do I need lines, right? I do need lines, so I need to do file.lines or whatever the fuck it was. File I lines. Do we have that? Okay, we do. So we have file, and we're gonna do string I and lines. Actually, yeah. That's gonna be my first thing. I'm gonna create a string array. I'm gonna put it in its own scope so I can see it and make it like organized. I'm gonna do file. I'm gonna do string. What am I doing? String. My brain just shut off for a second. Oh, right. Why are these now lower? I mean, I guess they should be on that line. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. String. String array, right? So this is my string array. We're gonna call it a buffer or lines. Actually, this could be bad though if you have a lot of lines of the file. Anyway, you could also just handle it by doing the for each loop. Honestly, simplify it. For each string I of lines, it's kind of like lines of f. Kind of like a normal counter, but instead of counting, we're actually going to process the lines. Read ln. So we'll do string equals f dot read ln, and then we'll nest another for each loop in here, even though that's kind of cringe, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. And then don't do that, but string I equals f dot read ln, and then we'll then parse it in a, or actually could just call that parse instead of calling it II. That's kind of lame. And instead of that, do lines. Oh, isn't this just like... You could just do for each until EOF, or while not EOF file.readln. You don't need to do all that. But that just gives you a string for line. And then for each car of that, you can break it down. For each line, for each CHR of line, the nested for each, the double combo for each loop, make double, triple XL. Yeah, amazing naming. I'm good at naming shit. That's my technique right here, bro. Cooking with this nested for each to read my car arrays. Anyway, that's gonna append to my string array arrays. So we also will need an index of some sort. So if we put it here, it's gonna iterate each time, but this is the main one, and we might have to declare this outside of that because it's going to be using lines, so it won't be able to do it that other way. So when we do this, what am I looking at? CHR line. So for each character of the string line, we need to check if that equals the car space. And if it does, then we need to take the last of the count. So we can do that instead. We could use slicing to do it instead of doing appends, which are terrible for this kind of thing. We could do this. I mean, you can do it with appends, but we'll then do an if. If it equals a space, then you take the last of your count. You say I equals or I equals 0 afterwards, so that way it reinitializes I. And we'll take that and make it into a string to take out a word from that. So let's see where I'm at. I equals 0. Right, so we're incrementing I every time we go up. So every time the character isn't space, then yeah. So then we need to make an I last as well, because every time we increment it, we could also just remove portions of it. Honestly, this is overcomplicated. This is a bad idea. Even though it'd probably be worse to implement another feature. We could just technically implement, what was it? The one that makes or actually adds a delimiter feature, so you can do spaces are your delimiter and then break it down by spaces. I don't know if I have that file. I do have it in one of my references. But I don't exactly remember how to use it. Oh, it should be in here though. See examples. D examples. Let's see here. Fish AI. Host.d. Let's see. Oh god, this is when my code was terrible, bro. Let's see here. Chomp. Splitter. Let's see. Well, at least I had started using for each loops back then. I could just do a for each loop. We could also just append that to array. It'd be way simpler. Instead of doing a count and a slice, I think append would actually be a way better way of doing it. I think this is one of those cases where it would be justified to do an append. Else, then you append. Oh, the else should also go in its own little block. I think. No, do I do that anywhere else? That really doesn't make a difference. I do it here and it's fine. Else, and then we can just do, we need to create a string in this one. We'll call it string TMP. Do I have a TMP anywhere else in there? I think I use this down here, but that should be fine. Shouldn't override the other one because it's in its own function method. So it's just gonna be here. Unless TMP is like global. No. Alright, so then we're just creating our string arrays after that. So this for each loop is going to make the string array. So every third iteration. So it needs to have another scope on it. Because if you don't do that, it doesn't look good, in my opinion. So that's an opinion. That doesn't really matter too much. You don't have to do this, but I do it because garbage collector, just in case I forget something. Or when I'm working with a lot of for each and stuff, put a string in here, create my string array. This way I can make sure that my data doesn't escape or like overflow or stuff like that. Oh, we were trying to do indexes. That was the idea. We would use index for it. Oh, we needed a counter though. That's what I needed. Hold on. We'll add in the counter then. Let's go U short counter. Does it need to be a U short? It needs to just be something. I don't know what it needs to be. U byte or U short. One of those two, but either way. Take a counter. Will be called I. CNTR. That way it doesn't get confused with CTORs or some shit. Counter. You know, we'll just call it an actual counter, because it should be what it's called. Use short counter for each of those, and then at the end of that for each loop, plus plus counter. And then when counter equals 3, counter equals hold on, 3, then what do we need to do next? We need to append to our TMP. Now that happens out here. And also position. Add that in. And then append it to position every time. So counter, and then we'll add append to position. So like position's gonna be incremented as well. And well, it's gonna be incremented every time one of these happens. So position gets added every time counter's 3. That should be good. So then we just append to there. Go to wallpaper lol. Yeah, it's awesome. Got my Linus Torvalds wallpaper in the background. Best wallpaper of all time. The best thing AI has produced for humanity is this Linus Torvalds wallpaper. It's pretty controversial. But I'd say that this one arguably is the most controversial. If you want to see some more wallpapers, I'm a really great artist, so when I draw art, I just take a couple images and slap them in the background and cut some holes in some other images, and then take other people's work and enhance it with some Oblivion Gate. See this NVIDIA background? Oh shit, wrong one. This NVIDIA background is so good because I enhanced it with NVIDIA Gate. Let's see what other ones I have. And then Arch Linux, Todd Arch. He's gonna come and sell you Skyrim. You oh shit, better watch out. Wow. Oh wait, that's supposed to be ArchChan. There we go, ArchChan. That's my wallpaper collection for all 6 virtual desktops. Pretty cool. Anyway, plus plus position. What are we doing? Appending to our main array. Do I need a array of strings? A string array? So every iteration, it needs to also append to there. The for each for TMP should just go inside of. Oh, but that will reinitialize it every time. This actually goes on the outside. A string array called TMPs. The TMPs array. Save that. So then my TMPs array will be the one that I append to. TMPs array. Actually, yeah. So on the for each, let's see. Every time it completes one of these, it needs to append that to temp. Or every iteration it does that, and then it appends to the TMPs array. Okay, I kind of have an idea. So this is where TMPs is going to go. TMPs is going to get appended to by TMP if there's a space. Boom. Then, if that happens, or if that's not the case, then what's going to happen is it's just always append to TMP. So if it hits a space, do not append at all. That's the first thing we're checking, and that's why we have this if-else statement before we do our TMP stuff. So let's go ahead and make that look nice. And then append car to TMP. Alright, we don't even need a counter in there. There was no point in even adding a counter in there. That's crazy to me. So, boom. That's how you get the arrays. Which then, you just append the array to the position that it's going to go inside of the path length. Which might need to be dot length before path dot length, and then we'll do plus path dot length to create something to give it a location of some kind. I'm sure that will work. I have no idea. We haven't compiled it yet. This is all stuff that I've just come up with, so I'm sure it won't work. And I'm gonna have to do a lot of fun debugging on my very great expedition towards parsing. Bro, we just reached 166 lines of bloat to add the parser in. We were at a lean 130 lines. Now we're at 160 lines. God damn, bro. To just add a parser for my really good configs. Very nice. Alright, so the configs are good. And if that's all good, it should just append to config or path. Path appends paths. Oh, but this is shadowing the path global. Get wrecked, nerd. It's okay. We'll call it Pat. Congratulations. Wow, you're a winner. Although. Oh, okay. Remove ++path.length and remove position. We no longer need those. We just need an append. If counter equals 3, set counter to 0. Congratulations. It's a winner. And the path appends the other thing. Easy cheesy, right? Super easy. All I had to do was path appends TMPs. And TMPs needs to be removed, like destroyed. So after it does that and appends it, TMPs dot length can be set to 0. So that creates that. And every time this happens, or if you don't want to do TMP's length equals 0, you do TMPs equals new TMPs. Or new string array or something. But new is able to do that. Although, I'm just going to use dot length since I know it works. Every time you set dot length to 0, it just removes everything. So, clears everything, gets you a fresh array. Doesn't even need to create a new array, so it might be better. Although I'm not sure how it works under the hood. That's the real question. How does TMPs.length work under the hood if you set it to 0? How does that reinitialize? How does it do a lot of things? Lots of questions. No answers yet for me, but I'll figure it out eventually. Every time we do this, TMP.length equals 0. That is good. That is, in fact, the code we're looking for. Now, after it completes that, let's have it write the line for if it's working or not, so I can start my debugging. Since I already know there's a lot of moving pieces here, As in, there's about 1,000 cogs we just inserted into the puzzle, and one of them's missing a semicolon. Guarantee it. Or the logic's wrong in some cases. And then I'm going to be spending 2 hours cracking my brain cells on trying to figure out why path isn't path. So remember, path was formatted as string Java, string data / Java, and string T, and so on and so forth. The first one being the alias in the terminal for the arg in the terminal. The second one being the path, and the third one being whether or not it needs to do multiple lines of arrays or whatever. So, good stuff. Should be able to compile. So let's go ahead and DMD. Oh, actually, let's CD into D lang, and then DMD gesture to .d. Hopefully it works. That's a good sign. Please work. Okay. /data /paths. Oh! Brain cells. Head up to the file. First mistake. Let's go ahead and find where I put the paths to equal a /path and not a data path. Alright. Let's see. First, that's like actually the second mistake, probably. Alright, so that's cool. No such file or directory. Okay, serioso. That's up because the path's name. Third mistake is actually config. So rename that to config. And continuing on. Should now work. I'm surprised it was mostly just some pretty simple stuff instead of parser errors, but we're about to find out about those parser errors. Do thing data / Java. Okay. That worked. Okay, so only D-lang doesn't work for right now. What? So first try, I got it to work. God damn. Java C++. Oh. Amogus. And then it just writes the line as do thing data Java. Every time it fails, it writes do thing data Java. Why does Java just work? Is it taking the first one? Bro, I don't even know what my code's doing anymore. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Java, C++, do thing / data / Java. It can only parse Java. What's going on under the hood then? That's what I hate, is when things start going wrong, and I gotta start digging, oh my god, real deep, bro. Fucking Miner 49er digging a cave or something. Actually, that's lame. Never say that again, please. At this time, please never say that again. Continuing. Temps. So is TMPS getting reset? What is going on here? Let's see. Cake. Here, let me show you what it says every time you send kekw. Kekw is cake. Congratulations. I gotta figure out how to disable translation. Because every time it translates things, it gets them wrong. Whenever somebody types Russian into the chat, it just leaves it Russian. Maybe Java prefers to be bullied. Oh god, Java prefers to be bullied. I'm adding that one in there. Java prefers to be bullied. Where's Java? Java prefers to be bullied. I'm gonna put in quotations, maybe. That's good, though. Congratulations. That was good enough to make it in here. Very good. I'll see that one day and I'll just remember that and be like, ah, wow, that's an amazing statement. Java prefers to be bullied. That's just so amazing. So let's go ahead and write everything out as it happens in real time. So, write ln tmp, comma, colon, semicolon, comma, quotation mark, exclamation point, apostrophe, colon, comma. Yeah, that's my amazing song. It's gonna be released in 2048 when Jeff Bezos releases Amazon Cloud Compute and takes everybody's computers and replaces them with Amazon Thin Client. I already know it's gonna happen because I've been into 2048. It's lame-o mode, bro. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys now because the RAM prices only got worse. What? What, the Amogus, Bobby? What? What the? So every time it does it, first we have Java data Java delaying. Java. So it's skipping the T's and the F's. I see. It skips that part entirely. So like it goes Java, or it goes data, or okay, so first it reads Java, creates Java. Then it reads data, then does that. Then it does delaying. After, in delaying, it's got Java and data. What? What? So, it's not actually doing things correctly. So when something doesn't get reset, so it hits a space, hits a T, but when it hits the new line, it doesn't do anything. I think it just keeps appending. Let's see what it's actually doing again. Let's walk through the logic. So, start off from the beginning. We take a line from lines. We create a string TMP, and every time in the for each loop, so we then take the line and break it down into characters. And after that, if a character equals a space, then we append to TMP's TMP. Write ln. Okay, skip that portion. Then we do set the TMP.length to 0. Else, we append the car to TMP. Let's write ln for the CHR it's on. Alright, continuing on, we increase our counter for every time we do this. Okay, so where does TMPS get reset? Counter equals 3. Path appends TMPS. The TMPS length should decrease. Counter is initialized at 0. If counter equals 2, should do the trick. Although, if it starts at 0, you add 1. That completes the first iteration. The counter needs to happen in here, but probably. This for each loop needs to do most of the work. Let me rethink this. I think what's going on is that every time it does this, so it takes a line, right, and it does for each of these for the... Oh, okay, that actually does track as far as logic. I was in the right direction. Was I correct? Was I correct, Amogus? I think it was. I was on track. Yeah. I was in the right direction. Maybe it's just that counter does not need to be 2. That does need to be 3. It starts at 0. So 0, 1, 2. That would be your third number. Maybe it does need to be 2. Let's recompile it and try it again. Counter equals 0, obviously resetting stuff. Alright. Let's go down and check it again. Let's see. Jester Java. Java, data Java. Java. Oh. That's the line it's on. D-lang gets appended to it. But did it Where's my CHRs? Why is it skipping the T's? They're in there. What? What the fuck? Are you Serioso? Amogus? Why does it only go to 2? What is its issue? It should go to 3 every line. Okay. Anyway, so every time it finishes a line, it then does the next one. Oh, right. Maybe the line also needs to be written out. Write ln line. I want to see what it looks like in real time. So let's go ahead and do that again. Head down to the other section. I don't really understand what it's doing though. I feel like I need to rewrite it again to actually understand what I just wrote. Let's see. So line. Every time it writes a line, right? We have Java. Okay, so here we go. The first thing it does once it enters the initialization stage, Java data / Java T. Java. Okay, cool. Data, and then D-lang. Okay. Why is... Yeah, that's good. Why no T, though? What? Should temp.length equals 0, where's TMP in this equation? It skips iteration after 2. Like, does it hit the end and go, that's the end of the line because it has a T? Just a T? I think that's where everything's going wrong, is it only has one character at the end of the line. And it's surrounded by spaces, so it has a space on both sides. So if CHR equals that, then append TMPS. So, does it even get a chance to append the TMP for T? No. That's what's going on here. The problem is that if we do this, we may append spaces. We could solve that by doing the length -1 and just reducing the length to a slice. I don't want to do that. Reinitialization is a thing. So what needs to happen is that the next character... See, it can't append T. Well, actually, no, it shouldn't have a problem. It should just default to this, right? So every time it hits here, it should append T. This is where a lot of the issues are coming from. I'm not worried about the lines anymore. I think that's where the problem is at. because then it's mixing shit up. Then we have to just figure out why it's not doing that. Right ln. I want to know exactly what TMP has on it before it gets spat out of the machine. Let's go ahead and see what that does. A lot of parsing going on. FT. Dealing data, dealing F. Then I want to see what the let's see what the thingamajibs are. Where are they at? I really hate parsing things, bro. Let's go ahead and write out the TMPS. I also could have been just writing it up here. Before we do anything with TMPS, I want to know what it is, so. If counter equals 3, give me a right ln for what TMPS is, because that's where TMPS is at its greatest. That should be the full entire thing. I don't think we have a problem with the TMP anymore. I think it is actually getting appended, but I need to do this to be sure. We also call it an exception on data viewer, but that's just because it's dumb, which is something I can fix. I want to see it. Yeah, see that? Bro, who's sending me messages right now, bro? But see that? That's kind of weird right there. It's got Java, data Java, and delang. And delang. It's all just one line. I don't think it's incrementing its position, and it's just adding it to the array. That's what's going on. Yes. It also doesn't include F still. There is no F. Why no F? Let's see what TMPS equals. Should be a string array. So we get to the end. Nothing. Where is the TMPS? Did I recompile? Yeah, I did. I want to see TMPS after the other portion. Oh, that's not what I'm looking at. Sorry. I want to see TMPS there too. I want to see what that looks like. I got some time. Let's do right ln instead of writing the TMP. We kind of have an idea what's going on. Actually, just do right ln TMPS. I want to see what that looks like. That one's good. See, that one's... It's defaulting to fail? What the fuck? That one puts fail in the middle. The count's wrong. So, it's actually counting wrong. It's not counting correctly. It skips the T's. It doesn't count correctly. You'd think for each line it would, you know, work. Let's see if I can just brute force the problem out of my way. Let's see. So path appends TMPS, but we need to increase path every time. We might even need to use the counter or a second counter to increments the paths. So to do that, we'll just think about it for like 30 minutes before I actually decide on what I'm gonna do. the path of that wallpaper is diabolical. What, you don't like Linus Torvalds in the background, bro? He's gonna put AI in my kernel, bro. What can I say? Absolutely evil. Truly. Maybe I should rewrite the entire thing. This is terrible, I think. I think I've written it as in the worst possible way. For each line of lines works, kind of. We also have string TMPS. That kind of works. We need, oh, let's use position, actually. We have a, okay, suppose. For each character of line, it's going to do this, where it's going to do that, and it's going to append to there. And when it hits a space, do any of those have spaces? Might be a new line. They don't have spaces, but they should have a new line. Let's open this in a hex editor and find that new line character. I want to see that new line character. Let me open. Oh, I don't have Octeta. Do I? I don't have a hex editor right now. Never mind. But I'm pretty sure they just hit the new line character, so we'll just include one that checks for a new line character. So I think you can just do that like this. And then just do /n. Is that's the new line character, right? Yeah. New line character. Then I don't have to put a space at the end of everything. I don't have to for each any, like, if I did a string array, it would look way better, but I could do for each and then find matches, like for each of my matches if it's like a bro, but that'd be like advanced parsing, stuff you don't need. Well, stuff I don't need. I don't want it. Let's go ahead and continue on. Go down here. Let's see. Scrolling through it. Java. Oh wait, it is including the T now. Good news, guys. I got it to include T's. All right. And yes, of course, that's going to be incorrect because the array length needs to be incremented. Since you can't append, otherwise you're just appending to the first index. So we're appending to an index. Although, technically, we're going to set that, the index of position of path, which is an array of arrays, the most amazing data type I think I've ever heard of. Before we get there, let's go ahead and add a block that, just make this into one block and then separate the other one out, because that's the not doing stuff, that's undoing stuff. Oh, just wait till we get to the other ones, man. Bro, I riced out my distro really hard, so it's really good. I'll show you. Todd, he's coming to sell all Arch Linux enjoyers a new copy of Skyrim. And NVIDIA Jensen from the NVIDIA Gate, damn, he's bringing us new Blackwell GPUs. Elder Scrolls 4, NVIDIA, nice. The Arch Linux Portal Aperture Labs backgrounds. You can see Aperture in the background, as well as Linux logo, which is burned into the image for maximum optimal Linuxing. You can see that that there's also BTOP, by the way. And then here's the generic Arch user background rather than Arch user Torvalds. That's Arch user default. A default Arch user right there. Those are the best backgrounds of all time. I think this will work now. Let's go ahead and compile on ArchChan. Nice. Let's see the paths again. Whoa, why is that one got T and fail? It's including 4. We'll figure that one out in a second. They're including 4. Oh no. Oh. So, I mean, it makes it through the Java one correctly, and it has that. It never resets TMPS in the loop. So, once it does that, it should stop. If it equals a new line character, my brain is fried. Needs to do something else too. Needs to reset things on new line characters. So on a new line character, it needs to do a different thing. It needs to append. Well, it needs to destroy everything. Because otherwise, we're just building the world's most massive array of failed bullshit. So yeah, by here we have that, and it's going for 6 iterations, isn't it? Yeah, it does 2 lines, and then it's done. Oh my god. So why does it go for 2 lines, then? What's the deal there? What's with that? I gotta figure that out now. So why does it want to do 3 lines, basically? It did 3 lines and made 1 array of 3 lines. It should only make 1 array, then append that array, send it off. Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. It's that we don't need a counter variable. In fact, we don't need that at all. I like trucks. Yeah, I like trains, bro. I'm not gonna lie. We don't need that at all. That will work, because every time it exits the for each loop for the line, it's basically every line is 1 array, and it's completed that appending already. Creates the array, boom, exits. Doesn't need to even plus a counter, because there's no need for a counter. The only thing we need is a position. The only thing that needs a plus is position. So let's go ahead and reduce to ashes counter. That will be my programming language when I write it eventually someday. I'll create a fish code, and it will be you have to write reduce to ashes counter to deinitialize or deallocate memory. Every time you want to use deallocation, gotta use reduce to ashes. Oh my god, it's still present. Ugh, it's in the deinitialization stuff. That's probably why I shouldn't do 2 blocks of brain cells. Should use like 4 blocks of brain cells. To be honest. At least we're de-bloating the file from 1,000 line almost. What was it at before? It was not 1,000 lines, but it was definitely getting close to 200 lines. This is one of the biggest files I've written too, or biggest source code. Like, of the good source code I've written, this is the biggest good source code. It's actually good, I think. Although I hate parsers. Parsers kill me inside. Ah, good. Position never increments. So it sets the first one equal to the every time. Coolio. I got that one. I hate parsers. The logic makes my brain go kaboom. But anyway, plus path.length, fine. Plus. Actually, yeah, plus position. semicolon. Colon, semicolon, comma, exclamation point, comma, colon, period, colon, comma, comma. Yeah. That's what I have to say for you guys. Pretty inspirational, right? See it. I want to see it. Whoa. It's including a space at the beginning. That is no bueno. Cannot have that space at the beginning. So, destroy spaces. Need to unappend that from the... So, I would have to slice it. 2 slices. If car equals that. If car plus 1... I don't want to do any slicing, so I'm just going to do a plus 1. If the next character equals a space, don't append it. Well, append this character, and then we need to skip that one so that it never gets appended. Or if car plus 1 equals a new line character, God forbid we include a new line character into my array. I hope this works. I don't think the logic's there. See, I don't think I really thought through the logic on this one. Because if car plus 1 equals this, that means that it will just append everything before. So it'll append the current TMP. That's the problem, is it hits car, and then it's like, well, if it equals this, oh, hey, where does TMPS equal? How do you get TMPS? Huh. So why is there a space in there? Is it the new line character? What? Wait, I'm confused now. So how is it getting a space? Oh, space right there. Java. Oh, new line character. Is that the new line character? That is a new line character. Or no, it's just because it's writing a line. So J is right. Java's right. Okay. And then it gets a space. How the hell does it append a space the second it hits a space? If car equals space, don't append it. Get rid of it. Right? But it now has a space before. So if car minus 1, maybe it needs to be stricter and have a... I think that's what it needs. It needs an else-if statement instead. I honestly don't know what I'm doing anymore at this point. I think I've just gotten confused by this. Else if there is no need for plus 1s. That looks disgusting. Get that slop out of my code. That is some slop in my code. CHR does not equal that, or CHR does not equal the other one, which it could be. There's only 2. Yeah, /n. Then it should work. TMPS. What are we looking at? Can't really figure that out. TMPS. What does it do next? Oh, just put all the block of code from earlier in there. Right, that makes sense. Tab it all up. Nice. That's stricter. It will just skip the spaces now, I'm pretty sure. V squared. A squared plus B squared equals V squared. It's the secret. Secret of Python. Python primer. Do 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 do. Bro, did I make it? Did I make it work again? Oh yeah, I made it work. Alright, let's try Jester 2D line. Because I remember that was having issues. Java. C++. You have to write out the plus. I hate it that much. Alright, cool. D-Lang. Nice. But I am realizing an issue. This is not very good on memory usage. All of the code I just wrote needs to go in the main initialization of everything. So that will become a static inside the method, or inside the class, I'm sorry, and get appended to by everything else. So static, actually yeah, static path. Static path, that means this method can no longer be present as a method, and it just needs to be become a function, essentially, of initialization. But could it be done as inside of this? Maybe. So if you call at least one of these, then it just does it. I don't like it, though, because, well, we can just use gesture counts to get a total count of as many gestures as there are. So the first gesture you call needs to call this, but since it's static, I think it will be shared between classes. This is theoretical, but, well, theoretical because I don't really know the answer, and I'm just experimenting to find out, so I am not really sure. But that can now be called static path gen. So now we have a static void for path gen, which needs to be called here. So path gen, it could be called as gesture dot path gen, or that can be called externally before you even get into this constructor. That way, it never gets called again. Is there any imports in here? I think that works. String path gen, it's all looking good. Let's do gesture dot path gen. I think that will call the method from outside of it and give it all of them this. I hope. I hope I don't have to initialize them. It would be a lot of work to call out a bunch of times every time you have to create one of these. Let's see if we call it in here. No, I don't think I do. That's good. I think everything's ready. We can recompile it and test it. Oh? It finds the paths. It does them correctly. And it only does it once. Let's see. I think it works. Yeah, I think it's good. Let me check my phone real quick. Make sure nobody sent me messages or anything. Okay. Let's go ahead and remove all the right lines, because we don't need those anymore. There's a right ln. Wait, where's this at? Static. Take me to the static one. Right ln line. Get rid of that. We don't need that. Actually, version. What would it be called? Amogus. And then right ln debug, or path gen, and then do line. Cool. That's all it needs. Scrolling down, I don't see any more right lines. Oh, found some. Get rid of those. Destroy them. And send that back. Nice, that's done. Right ln TMPS. Nope. Go on. Save it. Everything looks good now. Where is this going? PathGen. PathGen is PathGen. Scope for all of this slop. Cool. So now if you put version equals Amogus, you get the PathGen. So I'll check that out in a second. But it should only call that once. Jester D-line. It still wants to write out all of that. Let me go ahead and fix that. I know exactly where that happens at. Right ln. That's fine. That's not fine. Get rid of that. Oh, it's still calling this .pathgen. Good thing I found that. Otherwise, I wouldn't. Let's go ahead and see if this compiles. Yep. PathGen, fail. PathGen, it's doing a new line on each one though. That's fine. It only calls it once too. Now that is some efficient programming right there, bro. Xorg and not Xorg. C++ and supporters. Okay, that's saying that Java is good. God damn, bro. That guy came up with an absolute fry for them. Let's go ahead and not compile it with that anymore. We don't need the Amogus version. Let's go ahead and do... should be just -o jester.d ls. Hopefully we still have jester2.d. Looks like it is. That's some basic stuff that makes it better. Although, I would say that LDC2 is the optimal way to go. Then you can do, like... let's see. Unless I made an object file on accident, but... that was, like, optimization stuff. There's, like, some compile time optimizations you gotta make to get, like, the best code. But, I don't really know exactly what those are. We're down to 165 lines. No right LNs included. And... honestly, the final binary is going to be so reduced because there is no more of those right LNs. So, this is my endpoint for today. We finished the Jester 2.0 to be released this weekend, I hope. When I actually release it this weekend. Or find out how I'm going to do that. Since I'm not using GitHub anymore. Because I don't like Microsoft. I don't want no Microsoft GitHub. Please no Microsoft GitHub. Billy Gates does not deserve my code, bro. Anyway. Let's go ahead and do a couple more of these just real quick, and I'll end up today. Java. Oh yeah, if you get angry at Java, bro. Java. C++. Because I hate it so much, it should be a pain in the ass to type it out. C++ is like jamming a helicopter inside a Miata and expecting some sort of improvement. Arguing that Java is better than C++ is like, okay, yeah, we've read that one 1,000 times, bro. Best argument for small talks in C++. C++ is history repeated as tragedy. Java is history repeated as farce. Good. The project's complete. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Not sure what I'm doing tomorrow yet, but I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.